think you become a good photographer. I mean, everyone needs to start with some kind of bare minimum of talent. Not everyone has an eye, as they say. But most people are interested in seeing in one form or another, and whatever talent they do have can be cultivated. And the cultivation of that talent, I've been in this industry almost 20 years. I've seen far more talented photographers than me, photographers with far more raw talent anyhow, drop by the wayside. Because there's a difference between raw skill and commitment, and there's a difference between raw skill and a certain kind of clarity of vision. I think it's a question of commitment and discipline. It's important every day when you're out and about, maybe you're going to work, maybe you're going for a walk, to be in the moment and living in the moment, but also mindful of what's happening around you and how in certain cases maybe that swirl of information and movement can become a photograph as well. And it's not time consuming, right? A photograph is just a 2/50th of a second oftentimes. The time consuming part is the anticipation and the waiting and the observing. But you can do both, you can be a part of the world while also appreciating that a beautiful thing may happen or an interesting thing may happen at any given moment. And then just thinking to slip your hand in your pocket, pull out your phone, press the button, slip it back into your pocket, and move on, I wouldn't call today a particularly successful photo day. Some days you get lucky, some days you don't. Sometimes you get lucky in the first 5 minutes, sometimes it's in the last 5 minutes, sometimes it's not at all. A big part of the process of photography is one of letting go of the expectation that just because you're mindful and you're focused and you're moving through the world that somehow you deserve or will get a good picture. That's simply not the case. So today was one of those days that we moved through the environment and we didn't find much, but we found things that suggest the possibility of something else, but just without that extra little something, indefinable something that makes an okay picture into a very good picture or a very good picture into a great picture. But the more you're paying attention and mindful of your surroundings, the more you're likely to get lucky down the road. You don't need to get lucky all the time to take some beautiful pictures. The best photographers, the best artists, the best anything, if they're lucky, they have a few dozen, 50, 100 great pictures over the course of a whole lifetime. Photography itself is one of the most subjective forms of art that's out there, partly because there's very little skill involved in crafting the image itself. So it's all in what is considered beauty in the eye of the beholder of that beauty. And when you see all the component parts of our world as being potentially equal in their possibilities for beauty, that's a profoundly enriching feeling to have in one's life. Because you don't have to go to the pyramids of the Great Wall of China, the Empire State Building to see something spectacular. You can see it when you walk out your door on your way to buy some milk. Photography is so easy, right? Because all you have to do is pull the camera out and press the button and it goes click, right? But it's almost impossible because there are infinite variables. At any given moment, are you looking up, down, left, right? There's infinitesimal movements of the eyes, the hands, the legs, the body. Everything is constantly in motion. Light, people, you can constantly be in motion, your feet, your hands, your head. So everything is put there to photograph. How do you hone in and zero in on what is worth photographing. Well, everyone has a different definition of that, of course. But when you find that thing, you can take one picture, but I often find it useful to take a few pictures. And in the moment itself, because you're feeling the wholeness of the moment, it's not always easy to anticipate what's the photograph that will linger and resonate. So I always think when you do see that thing that you're attracted to and you feel compelled to pull your camera phone out of your pocket and take a picture, I think it's always worth taking a few. Take a picture based on that initial instinct, but if the situation is sort of not so fluid, take a step back. Move a little bit to the right, move a little bit to the left. Try using the zoom, try using the wide angle. Take a few pictures of that scene and then give yourself the space afterwards to see what resonates the most. You have to always remember that your experience and feeling of taking the picture versus the picture itself are two very separate things. I think I'd advise to a young photographer a number of things. There are a number of keys to being a successful photographer. One, I think first and foremost, is keeping an open heart and an open mind, and an openness towards people, having a love for people, and a forgiveness for people. I think it's extremely important to look at a lot of photography to understand what is possible, what the form is capable of, but also to constantly ask yourself, what do I care about and why? And how can I turn what I care about? How do I visualize it? How do I find the visual imprint of that thing in the world? I think the third is a certain amount of commitment and dedication. We all start out with a modest idea and probably not a whole lot of talent or vision. And it's only the process of repetition and doing it again and again every day, treating it with the seriousness that it deserves, that over time one's personal form of expression will reveal itself, but that takes time, which I suppose leads me to the fourth point of the necessity for resilience. When you're stuck, you just got to keep going. You have to have a fundamental belief that it's not going to last forever, and that there's always a way through and a way out of it, and that ultimately the sort of innocence and joy that brings most of us into photography in the first place will reassert itself, and carry you through, hopefully with the conviction and a connection that's even stronger. So I think those are the main things I'd recommend.